excited. I usually don't get excited until it's closer. To me, it still seems so far off, but.
Do you guys have a date?
We do. I'm not gonna share it.
No, I'm good. I mean, listen, okay, you're gonna do this on your own and you're gonna be fine.
Right.
And you're not gonna worry about what anyone thinks and has to say.
Cope until you can't anymore. And I finally hit my brick wall. I couldn't cope anymore.
It always starts quiet. A few whispers online, a couple of shady tweets, then suddenly Hollywood's on fire. Two women who swore they'd buried the past pulled right back into the same storm they tried to escape. And this time, it's not about fame. It's about betrayal, heartbreak, and a rumor that refuses to die. It started with one post, a blurry photo, a comment that wasn't supposed to be seen, and suddenly people were asking questions that even the blogs didn't know how to answer. The rumor that Taraji P. Henson, Hollywood's golden woman, the one who built her name on strength and class, might be expecting a child with Ime Udoka. Yeah, that Ime Udoka. The same man who made headlines not for his coaching, but for breaking Nia Long's heart in front of the entire world. At first, nobody believed it. It felt too wild, too messy, too cruel to even imagine. But then came the sources, the insiders. A few fan pages dropped hints. One gossip account claimed they'd seen them together more than once. The internet did what it always does. It exploded. People started connecting dots, digging up old interviews, comparing timelines, whispering about how quiet Taraji had been lately. And with every post, the story grew bigger. Because if it was true, then Hollywood wasn't just watching another celebrity rumor, it was watching a full-blown betrayal unfold in real time. And for Nia Long, that silence said everything. But before we jump to conclusions, we need to roll the clock back. Because to understand why this rumor hit so hard, you need to know where Taraji's story really began. Before the whispers, before the blogs started spinning their stories, there was peace, the kind you don't often see in Hollywood. Taraji P. Henson wasn't just winning on screen, she was winning in life. When former NFL player Kelvin Hayden proposed to her, the internet exploded. It wasn't just another celebrity engagement, it felt different. Fans said she finally found someone who matched her energy, someone calm, grounded, and strong enough to love a woman like Taraji. She glowed in every interview. She spoke about love like someone who had finally learned what it meant to be chosen, not chased. She said, "He makes me feel safe." And that line alone broke the internet. Because for years, Taraji had carried herself like she didn't need safety from anyone. She was the fighter, the mother, the one who always had it handled. But now she looked soft again, human, like the world had finally given her permission to breathe. The engagement was supposed to lead to something simple, a small, family-centered wedding surrounded by love, laughter, and peace. For once, Taraji wanted something normal. But in Hollywood, normal doesn't sell. Before long, the rumor started. Some said she was pregnant. Others claimed the wedding was delayed for reasons no one could prove. Every smile she posted, every public appearance became a new headline. She even had to go online and say it herself. "I'm not pregnant, y'all. Please cut it out." She laughed it off in public. But that moment showed something deeper. A woman constantly having to explain her piece to a world that didn't believe she deserved it. Behind that radiant smile, things were crumbling. The distance, the arguments, the weight of two busy lives trying to move in sync. It's the kind of heartbreak that doesn't make the blogs, the quiet kind. The one where love fades, not explodes. By 2020, the engagement was officially over. And just like that, the dream she built, gone. No wedding, no fairy tale ending, just another chapter closed in silence. But Taraji didn't hide. She didn't spiral. She did what she always does. She turned her pain into something powerful. She said, "I had to learn that you can't heal in the same place that broke you." That quote hit like a truth bomb for millions of women watching, because she wasn't just acting anymore. She was living the story of every woman who had ever tried to stay strong after being let down. From that moment, Taraji became a symbol, not of perfection, but of resilience. The strong black woman image that Hollywood loves to put on a pedestal. Except this time, it wasn't just a role, it was her reality. But here's the twist no one saw coming. The same strength that made her untouchable also made her lonely. When you build a life around being strong, it's hard to admit when something hurts again. So, when this new rumor surfaced, one that tied her name to a man already wrapped in scandal, it didn't just hit her career, it hit her peace. The same peace she fought for, cried for, and rebuilt after losing everything she thought she wanted. And that's what makes this story sting so much deeper. Because to understand why people are talking now, you have to understand the man at the center of it all. The man who turned a private heartbreak into a national conversation. Ime Udoka.
The story broke like a thunderclap. One headline, one photo, and suddenly Ime Udoka, the man once celebrated for taking the Boston Celtics to the finals, wasn't being talked about for basketball anymore. He was being talked about for betrayal. The Celtics released a statement no one saw coming. Their head coach suspended for the entire season after what they called a violation of team policies. But the truth, or at least the version people could piece together, was much darker. Ime had been involved in a consensual relationship with a female team staff member, a woman who, as it later turned out, had also been in charge of arranging Nia Long's travel plans. Imagine that for a second. The same woman booking your flights, planning your move, helping your family settle in, secretly seeing your fiancé behind your back. When the news hit, Nia was blindsided. Not by whispers, not by rumors, by the world. The story didn't just leak, it exploded. Every outlet ran it. ESPN, TMZ, Page 6, all of them with her name attached, even though she wasn't the one who did anything wrong. Nia had just moved to Boston with her son to be closer to Ime. She was unpacking boxes when her phone started lighting up. She later said that the hardest part wasn't reading about it. It was watching the expression on her son's face when he realized what the headlines meant. That's the kind of pain no press conference can clean up. She said nobody from the Celtics called to check on her. Not one person. Not even to ask if she and her child were okay. And in that silence, the humiliation grew louder. Because while the world debated whether Ime deserved forgiveness, nobody asked what Nia deserved. Commentators called it a mistake. Some players defended him. Even celebrities tried to downplay it, saying things like, "It happens, it's part of life." But what about the woman who had to carry that scandal in her name forever? While Ime was being discussed like a fallen star, Nia became a headline accessory. Nia Long's fiancé caught in an affair. Not a woman with feelings, not a mother, just the face of someone else's downfall. The media called it a scandal, but for Nia, it was grief. The kind that doesn't fade with time, the kind that haunts you in silence when the cameras move on. She later said she pulled her son out of school that day, because even in the classroom, the whispers had already started. Imagine that. Your private heartbreak turned into the morning's trending topic. The betrayal, the humiliation, the lack of care, it broke something in her. But instead of breaking down, she did what women like Nia always do. She rebuilt, slowly, quietly, for her son. Months later, she said she and Ime had reached peace. A co-parenting arrangement, she called it. Mature, civil, calm, but make no mistake, scars don't fade that easily. Especially when the same man who caused them finds his name in the headlines again, linked to someone she already had history with. And that's when everything got messy, again. Because when people heard that name, Taraji P. Henson, they knew this story wasn't over. It was just beginning.
See, this isn't the first time these two names have crossed paths. Long before the internet started whispering about Ime Udoka, there was already quiet tension between Taraji P. Henson and Nia Long. The kind of energy that never quite went away. It started years ago on the set of Empire. Taraji was the queen of that show. Her performance as Cookie Lyon made her a cultural icon. She wasn't just acting, she was the show. So when Nia Long was cast as a guest star, fans were excited. Two powerful black actresses, two legends, sharing the screen. It sounded like magic. But behind the scenes, things weren't so smooth. Reports started surfacing that the two weren't getting along. Some said it was scheduling issues, others whispered it was ego. Whatever it was, something was off. Crew members claimed Nia would show up late to set, and Taraji, being the professional she is, didn't like that. Producers allegedly tried to keep the peace, but tension hung in the air like static. At one point, insiders even said the two had to film their scenes separately. Think about that. Two women who were supposed to share chemistry chemistry on screen couldn't even share the same space in real life. And while both of them played it cool publicly, people close to the production said the rivalry was real. Not an outlined feud, but quiet competition. Two strong women, same generation, same industry, both used to being the star of the room. Taraji with her bold, unfiltered energy, Nia with her calm, regal presence. Oil and water. Eventually, Nia's time on Empire ended. No big farewell, no emotional goodbye. Some said she left upset, others said she was simply ready to move on. But the story didn't stop there. There were whispers that Nia felt disrespected on her way out, that she wanted to sue the production for not giving her a proper send-off. Whether that was true or not, one thing was clear. The relationship between her and Taraji was never the same again. So fast forward years later, when the internet started connecting Taraji's name with Ime Udoka, the very man who humiliated Nia in front of the world, it wasn't just gossip anymore. It felt personal. Fans started saying what everyone was already thinking. There's no way Taraji didn't know what this would look like. And maybe that's why this rumor hit harder than most, because it wasn't just about love or betrayal. It was about two women with unfinished history, now tangled in the same man's name. The internet didn't wait for confirmation. It didn't need proof. It just needed a headline. And once that headline dropped, the fire spread faster than anyone could control. Blogs, fan pages, podcasts, everyone had a theory. Some said Taraji's finally getting her karma. Others said Nia was overreacting, that she and Ime weren't even together anymore. But that's not how emotions work, because sometimes it's not about what's true, it's about what it feels like. And for Nia Long, seeing Taraji's name next to Ime's, that must have felt like deja vu in the worst possible way. But if you think that's where it ends, you're wrong. Because what happened next took everything to another level.
The rumor didn't stay quiet for long. It never does. One tweet, one blurry photo, one anonymous source close to the situation. That's all it took. Within hours, every gossip page from The Neighborhood Talk to Hollywood Unlocked had the story. Taraji P. Henson and Ime Udoka spotted together. Sources claim Nia Long is furious. Is this the ultimate Hollywood betrayal? The internet went wild. People flooded the comments with fire emojis and broken hearts. This can't be real. Not Taraji. She knows the girl code. Nia deserves better again. It was everywhere. TikTok threads, YouTube breakdowns, even Facebook aunties had opinions. One blog called it the biggest Hollywood crossover since Jada and Will. Another said it was the betrayal no one saw coming and everyone's talking about. Every platform turned into a courtroom. People were choosing sides like it was a digital civil war. Team Taraji, Team Nia, and no one was holding back. On one side, fans defended Taraji, saying she owed nobody an explanation. She's single, he's single, so what? On the other, people called her out, saying it wasn't about relationship status. It was about respect. It was about loyalty. It was about not crossing a line with someone who once called you friend. The debate turned messy. Threads turned into essays. Old photos resurfaced. Every clip, every smile between the two women from the Empire days suddenly looked like evidence. Even Taraji's silence became part of the conversation. She's quiet because it's true. She's quiet because she's protecting her peace. She's quiet because she doesn't owe y'all nothing. No matter which side you were on, one thing was clear. The internet had chosen violence. And right in the middle of it all was Nia Long. She didn't post a statement. She didn't respond. But her followers noticed subtle things. A deleted picture here, a cryptic quote there. Protect your energy. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. Some wounds don't close, they teach. And just like that, every word became a headline. The story wasn't just viral, it was alive. Everyone was talking, arguing, speculating, but behind the noise, one question started to rise louder than all the others. Was this really about Taraji and Ime, or about something deeper? The way women are treated when men fall from grace. Because while the internet laughed, liked, and commented, two women were being ripped apart by a story that might not even be true. And the craziest part, it still wasn't over. What came next turned this rumor into something far more personal, something that hit Nia right where it hurts the most. Her family.
The internet moved on, like it always does. But for Nia Long, the story didn't end when the trending hashtag died. Because behind every rumor, every post, and every insider source, there's still a mother trying to protect her child from a world that won't stop talking. Nia has always been private, graceful, composed, the kind of woman who never needed to clap back to prove her worth. But this time, it was personal. Her son son had already watched his father's scandal unfold in real time. The jokes, the interviews, the headlines, all of it playing out like a movie he never asked to see. And now, 2 years later, he's hearing whispers again. Whispers that his dad might be starting a new family with a woman his mother once shared a set with. That's not just gossip, that's trauma. The kind that doesn't hit in the moment, but seeps in later when the noise fades and all that's left is confusion. Nia once said, "The most important gift you can give your kids is to heal your own pain." Maybe that's why she hasn't spoken. Maybe she's choosing silence, not as weakness, but as protection. Because what good would it do to fight a rumor when the world's already made up its mind? In a way, Nia's silence feels like survival, a quiet stand against an industry that chews women up, then blames them for the taste. And while her name trends for heartbreak, Taraji's is trending for mystery. No posts, no comments, no denial, just silence. But here's the thing about silence in Hollywood. It speaks louder than any statement. Every day that Taraji stays quiet, the internet fills in the blanks for her. Some say she's protecting her peace. Others say she's letting the storm pass. A few believe she's guilty by omission. But maybe, just maybe, she's doing what strong women have to do when the world won't give them space to be human. Say nothing. Because in a place where everyone's shouting for attention, silence becomes power. And Taraji knows that better than anyone. Still, that silence leaves something hanging, a question no one can answer. Is she staying quiet because there's nothing to say, or because the truth would only make it worse? Either way, both women are trapped in the same storm. Different sides, same pain. One trying to heal in peace, the other trying not to break it again. But Hollywood doesn't care about peace. It cares about the next headline. And what happened next gave the blogs exactly what they were waiting for.
At the end of the day, this story was never really about the rumor. It was about what happens when pain becomes public property. 2 women, 1 rumor, and a whole industry that profits off pain. Taraji P. Henson, a woman who built herself from the ground up, fighting for every role, every ounce of respect. And Nia Long, a timeless icon who gave the world grace, strength, and elegance through every storm. 2 women who should have been celebrated for their power, now reduced to trending topics and hashtags. And the man in the middle, he gets another chance, another job, another clean slate. That's the part nobody likes to talk about. Because in Hollywood, when a man falls, he's forgiven. But when a woman hurts, she's forever remembered for the wound. The truth is, we don't even know what's real anymore. Maybe the rumor's true, maybe it's not. But what's undeniable is how fast the world will turn someone's healing into a headline. Maybe Taraji's silence isn't guilt. Maybe it's peace. Maybe Nia's quiet isn't weakness. Maybe it's wisdom. Either way, both of them are standing in the same storm. Different choices, same pressure. And it makes you wonder if strength is really what we admire or what we demand. Because every time a woman chooses herself, the world calls it drama. Every time she stays silent, the world writes the story for her. Maybe that's the real betrayal. Not between friends, not between lovers, but between the truth and the people who twist it for clicks. So, what do you think, y'all? Is this karma or coincidence? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget, in Hollywood, silence doesn't mean nothing. It means everything.